Ma'am, this can't possibly be your account. People like you don't bank here. The words slice through First National Bank's marble lobby like broken glass. Teller Derek Collins flicks Dr. Amara Winston's Platinum American Express black card across the counter with 2 fingers, watching it spin to the polished floor. Amara's navy Armani suit doesn't wrinkle as she bends gracefully to retrieve her card. Her movements stay controlled, deliberate. Professional. Derek crosses his arms, smirking at his colleague Janet behind the adjacent window. Maybe try the credit union down the street? Derek's voice carries across the pristine space. Other customers turn to stare. A teenage girl near the ATM quietly starts recording on her phone. Security cameras capture everything. The digital clock above the entrance reads 10:47 a.m. Have you ever been judged so quickly that people assumed your success belonged to someone else? Derek examines Amara's driver's license like he's studying counterfeit currency. He holds it up to the fluorescent light, squinting theatrically. This address doesn't look right. Beacon Hill? Really? His tone drips skepticism. Janet leans over from her window, peering at the ID with exaggerated concern. Probably borrowed someone else's, she whispers loud enough for nearby customers to hear. Amara's voice remains steady as morning coffee. I'd like to make a withdrawal from my business account, please. Derek's fingers dance across his keyboard with deliberate slowness. Each keystroke echoes his doubt. He shakes his head after a moment, lips pursing in mock disappointment. System's not recognizing you. This account shows a Dr. A. Winston, but... He gestures vaguely at Amara. His meaning crystal clear. The teenage girl by the ATM adjusts her phone angle. Maya Chen, 16 and sharp-eyed, has been documenting these real-life stories for her social justice TikTok. Her finger hovers over the live button. Y'all need to see this, she whispers to her camera. The live stream begins. Viewer count, 12. 47, 156. Amara adjusts her leather briefcase. For just a moment, the corner of an expensive portfolio peeks out, gold embossing barely visible, Board of Directors, First National Banking Group. The briefcase snaps closed before anyone notices. Derek stacks Amara's documents in his rejected pile with theatrical precision. Birth certificate, social security card, bank statements, all dismissed with prejudiced efficiency. Then, with a careless flick, he slides the entire stack off the counter. Papers scatter across the marble floor like fallen leaves. Oops, Derek says without looking down. Other customers witness this deliberate humiliation. Mrs. Patterson, a regular client, clutches her Chanel purse tighter and steps away. Mr. Rodriguez pretends to study his phone. The security guard by the entrance shifts uncomfortably but doesn't intervene. These touching stories of discrimination play out daily in corporate America. But today feels different. Maya narrates quietly to her growing audience. This professional black woman is being treated like a criminal for trying to access her own account. This is First National downtown. And they got her documents all over the floor. The viewer count climbs, 523. 847, 1,203. Comments flood the screen. This is disgusting. Get his name and badge number. Someone call the news. Banking while black is apparently a crime. Derek's confidence swells with each passing minute. He's performed this routine before, the skeptical questions, the theatrical document examination, the strategic delays. Most people eventually leave, defeated by the systematic humiliation. Look. Lady, Derek says, leaning back in his chair with practiced authority. I don't know what game you're playing here, but this is a serious financial institution. We can't just hand out money to anyone who walks in off the street with fake documents. The word fake hangs in the air like smoke. Amara's jaw tightens, barely perceptible, but present. Her Patek Philippe watch catches the light as she checks the time, 10:52 a.m. My documents are authentic, she says quietly. As is my account. Derek exchanges a knowing look with Janet. They've heard this before. Desperation wrapped in dignified language. Ma'am. If you could bring the actual account holder with you next time, maybe your employer or husband, we might be able to help you then. The suggestion lands like a slap. Maya's live stream explodes with outrage. Did he just say she needs her husband to bank? This is 2025, not 1825. Screen recording this racist nonsense. A well-dressed white man in line behind Amara shuffles his feet impatiently. Some of us have actual business to conduct, he mutters. Derek nods appreciatively at the complaint. Exactly, sir. We'll have you helped momentarily. Amara's phone buzzes. The notification shows briefly on her screen. Board meeting moved to conference room A. See you in 8 minutes. Chairman Peterson. She silences the phone without reading the full message, but her expression shifts almost imperceptibly. The countdown has begun. The digital clock above the entrance now reads 10:54 a.m. 6 minutes remain. Derek continues his performance, emboldened by the growing audience of witnesses. Maybe if you brought some real identification, we could. My identification is real, Amara interrupts softly. As real as my account, my business. And my right to be treated with basic human dignity. Derek's eyebrows rise in mock surprise. Nobody's treating you badly, ma'am. We're just following standard protocol for suspicious activity. Maya's live stream captures every word, standard protocol my foot. This woman has shown 3 forms of ID, and they're still treating her like a scammer. The viewer count continues climbing, too. 847 viewers and growing. This story is becoming one of those black stories that goes viral, a real-time documentation of institutional racism. Janet chimes in from her window. Derek's just doing his job. Some people try to take advantage, you know? The coded language isn't lost on anyone watching. Maya zooms in on Derek's name tag, making sure her audience can read it clearly. Amara stands perfectly still, a monument to dignity under pressure. Her breathing stays controlled. Her posture remains erect. But her eyes begin to show something else entirely. Not defeat. Not anger. Calculation. The clock reads 10:55 a.m. 5 minutes left. Derek savors the moment, relishing his perceived authority. He taps his pen against the counter in a rhythmic mockery of impatience. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step aside so I can help customers with legitimate business. The dismissal is final, absolute. Or so he thinks. But Amara doesn't move. She doesn't argue. She simply stands there, a study in quiet resolve, watching Derek perform his show of petty power. In that silence, something shifts. The air itself seems to thicken with unspoken possibility. Manager Richard Hayes emerges from his glass office like a shark sensing blood in the water. His receding hairline glistens under the fluorescent lights as he approaches Derek's window with measured steps. What seems to be the problem here? Richard's voice carries the authority of 15 years in middle management. His polyester tie is knotted too tight, creating a small bulge above his collar. Derek leans toward his supervisor conspiratorially, but speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. Suspicious activity, Mr. Hayes. Fake documents, probably stolen identity. The usual. The words land with practiced precision. Richard doesn't even glance at Amara's credentials scattered on the counter. His decision is already made based on Derek's whispered assessment and his own unconscious biases. Maya's live stream explodes with activity. The viewer count has jumped to 2,847 and climbing steadily. Her commentary flows like rapid-fire journalism. Now they got the manager involved. This woman has shown multiple forms of ID, and they're treating her like a criminal. Comments stream across her screen in real time. This is First National downtown. Someone call corporate. I'm screen recording this whole thing banking while black in 2025. The hashtag First National racism begins trending in the local area. 2 security guards position themselves strategically near Amara. Officer Martinez, a 20-year veteran, looks uncomfortable with the situation. His partner, younger Officer Thompson, keeps his hand near his radio. The implied threat hangs heavy in the marble lobby. These real-life stories of institutional discrimination follow predictable patterns. The victim faces increasing pressure while witnesses choose sides, most choosing silence. Richard adjusts his glasses and assumes his most authoritative posture. Ma'am, if you can't provide proper identification that matches our records, I'm afraid we cannot assist you. The irony is thick as molasses. Amara's identification lies scattered on the floor where Derek carelessly threw it. But Richard doesn't acknowledge this obvious reality. I understand you're following protocol, Amara responds, her voice carrying the kind of calm that precedes storms. However, I do need to complete this transaction. Her phone buzzes again. This time, the message is from Chairman Peterson with the contact photo of an elderly white man in an expensive suit. The text reads, "Emergency board meeting moved up. Conference room A in 3 minutes. Where are you?" Amara silences the phone without responding, but a small smile plays at the corner of her mouth. Richard interprets this as smugness rather than anticipation. The crowd of observers grows larger. Mrs. Patterson whispers to her friend about these people trying to scam banks. Mr. Rodriguez films discreetly. But his motivation remains unclear, documentation or entertainment. A young professional woman named Sarah watches from the investment advisor area. She recognizes the signs of discrimination from her own experiences in corporate America. But she stays silent, afraid to risk her own standing by intervening. Derek's confidence reaches new heights. He turns to Janet with theatrical exasperation. Some people just don't understand how real banks operate. Janet nods sympathetically. Maybe she should try one of those check cashing places. The suggestion draws murmurs of approval from some customers and outrage from Maya's online audience, now approaching 5,000 viewers. Amara checks her Patek Philippe watch, 10:57 a.m. 3 minutes until the board meeting. Her expression remains serene, but something deeper stirs behind her eyes. Before we proceed further, she says quietly, "Perhaps you should verify my account status more thoroughly." Richard waves dismissively. "Ma'am, we've checked. The account holder is clearly not present." "How can you be certain?" The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Richard's face reddens slightly. He's not accustomed to being questioned, especially by someone he's already dismissed. Because the Dr. A. Winston in our system is obviously a different person entirely, he states with absolute certainty. Derek nods vigorously. Exactly. The real account holder wouldn't be in here causing problems. Maya zooms in on the managers' faces, capturing their certainty for posterity. Y'all hearing this? They're so sure they know what their own customer looks like. Officer Martinez shifts uncomfortably. In his 2 decades of security work, he's seen this scene play out before. But something feels different this time. The woman's composure is unusual, not the desperate anger of someone caught in fraud, but the patient confidence of someone holding a royal flush. The crowd forms a loose circle around the confrontation. Some customers pretend to conduct business while watching the drama unfold. Others openly stare. Their expressions ranging from sympathy to suspicion to morbid curiosity. These touching stories of dignity under pressure reveal character in unexpected ways. Amara remains centered while chaos swirls around her. "Mr. Hayes," she says, using Richard's name though he never introduced himself, "I think there's been a misunderstanding." Richard's eyebrows raise. The only misunderstanding is your attempt to access someone else's account. Perhaps you should call the board of directors. The suggestion lands like a stone in still water. Derek actually laughs out loud. "Lady, the board doesn't get involved in small-time scams." But Richard's expression shifts slightly. Something in Amara's tone, the specific way she said board of directors, sends a small chill down his spine. Maya's live stream captures the moment perfectly. Did she just tell them to call the board? This woman is either completely delusional or... She pauses, the possibility dawning on her. Or she knows something they don't. The viewer count hits 5,632 and shows no signs of slowing. Shares are beginning across multiple platforms as the story spreads beyond Maya's original audience. Amara's briefcase sits at her feet, its expensive leather gleaming under the lobby lights. The gold embossing remains hidden, but its presence seems to radiate quiet authority. Officer Thompson receives a call on his radio. Control to Unit 47. We have reports of a possible situation at First National downtown. Unit 47 to Control, we're already on scene. Situation appears contained. But is it contained? Amara's phone shows another text from Chairman Peterson, running late? Board meeting starting without you if necessary. The digital clock above the entrance shows 10:58 a.m. 2 minutes remaining. Richard makes his final decision. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises, or we'll be forced to call the police. The ultimatum echoes through the lobby. Several customers nod approvingly. Derek smirks triumphantly. The security guards step closer. Maya's live stream reaches fever pitch. They're about to call the cops on this professional woman for trying to access her own bank account. This is about to get real. But Amara doesn't look defeated. She doesn't look angry. She looks like someone who's been waiting for exactly this moment. The storm is about to break. The clock strikes 10:58 a.m. 2 minutes until destiny. Amara's voice cuts through the tension like silk wrapped around steel. Before you call anyone, Mr. Hayes, I believe you should call the board of directors first. Derek's laughter echoes off the marble walls. Lady, the board doesn't get involved in petty fraud cases. Tell them, Amara continues with infinite calm, that Dr. Amara Winston is here. Richard's smirk falters slightly. Something in her tone, the absolute certainty, sends an unexpected chill through his nervous system. Tell them, she pauses for perfect dramatic effect, that the majority shareholder would like to speak with them. The words land like a meteor in the pristine lobby. Derek's laughter dies mid-chuckle. His face transforms from smug confidence to confusion, then to something approaching horror. Majority, what? Richard's complexion drains of color so rapidly that Mrs. Patterson actually gasps. His polyester tie suddenly feels like a noose around his throat. Maya's live stream explodes into chaos. Hold up. Did this woman just say she's the majority shareholder? Y'all. I think this woman OWNS this bank. The viewer count rockets past 12,000 as notifications ping across social media platforms. Comments flood the screen faster than Maya can read them. Plot twist of the century. She's the owner? Derek about to get fired. This is better than Netflix. Officer Martinez takes an instinctive step backward. In 20 years of security work, he's never seen a power dynamic flip this dramatically this quickly. Richard fumbles for his phone with trembling fingers. His contacts list shows Chairman Peterson emergency only at the top. He's never had to use it before. The phone rings once. Twice. Peterson here. The voice carries authority that spans decades. Mr. Peterson, sir, this is Richard Hayes, downtown branch manager. We have a situation. There's a woman here claiming to be Dr. Winston. She says she's the majority shareholder. Silence stretches across the connection like a taut wire. She's there? Now? Peterson's voice drops to a whisper. Yes, sir, but obviously this person can't be. Mr. Hayes, Peterson interrupts, his tone suddenly ice cold. Describe her to me. Richard glances at Amara, who stands motionless as a statue, watching his world crumble in real time. African-American woman, maybe 40, expensive suit, very composed. Another pause. Longer this time. Oh God. Peterson breathes. Richard, you need to understand something immediately. Dr. Amara Winston completed acquisition of controlling interest in First National Banking Group last Friday. As of this morning, she owns 51.3% of this institution. The phone trembles in Richard's hand. Derek's face has gone completely white. That's impossible, Richard whispers. Richard. Listen to me very carefully. Dr. Winston is not just a customer. She is not just an account holder. She is your boss. She is my boss. She owns the bank. Maya's live stream has become appointment viewing for thousands. Y'all, the manager is on the phone and he looks like he's about to pass out. This woman really owns the whole bank. Amara checks her watch, 10:59 a.m. 1 minute until the board meeting she's supposed to be leading. Mr. Peterson will see you in conference room A, she says to Richard, who's still clutching the phone like a lifeline. The emergency board meeting starts in 60 seconds. Peterson's voice crackles through the speaker, Richard, whatever has happened down there. Fix it. Now. And bring Dr. Winston upstairs immediately. The line goes dead. Derek stares at his computer screen, finally, reading the account details he ignored 30 minutes ago. Account holder, Dr. Amara Winston. Account type, Executive Premium. Account balance, $47,382,194.73. His hands shake as he scrolls through the transaction history. Monthly deposits ranging from $500,000 to $2.3 million. Investment transfers. Corporate payroll distributions. The financial footprint of serious wealth. This can't be real, Derek whispers. Janet peers over his shoulder. Her earlier smugness evaporating like morning mist. Derek, those numbers. Maya zooms in on Derek's expression for her audience. Look at his face. He's reading her account details and realizing he just discriminated against his own boss. The live stream has reached 15,847 viewers. Hashtag First National Racism is trending nationally. Local news stations are monitoring the stream, preparing breaking news segments. Amara opens her briefcase with deliberate precision. The contents become visible for the first time. Thick legal documents marked acquisition complete, First National Banking Group and controlling interest transfer confidential. She removes a single sheet of paper and places it on Derek's counter. The letterhead reads Goldman Sachs Investment Banking, Mergers and Acquisitions. The acquisition closed Friday at 4:47 p.m. She explains with the patience of a teacher addressing slow students. Settlement amount, $847 million. My ownership percentage, 51.3% of outstanding shares. Richard's knees actually buckle. He grabs the counter for support. Officer Thompson speaks into his radio, control, requesting immediate supervisor response to First National downtown. We may have complications. The lobby has fallen into absolute silence except for Maya's whispered commentary. Even the other customers have stopped pretending to conduct business. Mesmerized by the real-time destruction of institutional arrogance. You see, gentlemen, Amara continues, her voice carrying the weight of $847 million in economic power. I've been conducting assessments of customer service standards across my newly acquired properties. The word properties hits like a physical blow. Derek realizes he's not just unemployed, he's been fired by someone he spent 30 minutes humiliating. This wasn't random, Richard croaks. You planned this. Amara's smile could freeze champagne. Mr. Hayes, I don't make $847 million investments accidentally. Every acquisition is strategic. Every assessment is intentional. Maya's audience has exploded past 20,000 viewers. The story is spreading across TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube simultaneously. News outlets are calling the bank's corporate headquarters for statements. Dr. Winston, Richard stammers. I had no idea. Derek was following standard protocol. Standard protocol, Amara repeats thoughtfully, is to treat every customer with dignity and respect. Unless you believe some customers deserve less than others? The question hangs in the air like an executioner's blade. Derek makes one last desperate attempt at damage control. Dr. Winston. There must be some misunderstanding. I was just being thorough. Amara's gaze shifts to Derek with the focused intensity of a laser. Mr. Collins, in the past 30 minutes, you have questioned my identity based on racial assumptions. Thrown my legal documents on the floor. Suggested I bring my husband to bank. Called my identification fake. Recommended I use a check cashing service instead of my own bank. Each point lands with mathematical precision. Derek shrinks with every accusation. Would you describe this as thorough customer service, Mr. Collins? Maya whispers to her audience. She's not even raising her voice. This is what power looks like when it's quiet. The digital clock reads 11 a.m. Board meeting time. Amara picks up her scattered documents with the same grace she's maintained throughout the ordeal. Mr. Hayes, the board is waiting in conference room A. I suggest we discuss your customer service standards immediately. Officer Martinez steps forward respectfully. Dr. Winston, would you like us to escort you upstairs? That won't be necessary. Officer Martinez. She knows his name without being introduced. Though I appreciate your professionalism. The lobby remains frozen as Amara walks toward the elevators. Her heels click against marble with the rhythm of inevitability. Derek slumps in his chair, staring at the account balance that could have funded his salary for the next 200 years. Janet looks at the live stream. Maya is still recording. 23,000 viewers and climbing. Their faces are now permanently associated with institutional racism in the digital age. Richard follows Amara toward the elevators like a man walking to his own execution. Maya addresses her massive audience. Y'all just witnessed the most epic power reveal in banking history. This woman didn't just get her money, she bought the whole bank and exposed their racism for the world to see. The elevator doors close on Amara and Richard. The real showdown is about to begin. In the lobby, the aftermath spreads like wildfire. Derek sits frozen at his terminal, staring at numbers that mock his prejudice. Janet has stopped all pretense of working. Her face pale as she realizes their conversation was streamed to thousands. Mrs. Patterson approaches Maya hesitantly. Young lady, was that really the bank owner? Maya nods, still recording. Yes, ma'am. And we just watched her employees discriminate against her for 30 minutes. The woman's shock is genuine. I had no idea. I thought. You thought what? Maya challenges gently. Mrs. Patterson can't finish the sentence. The assumptions she made feel heavy now, shameful. Other customers begin to murmur among themselves. The narrative is shifting in real time. What seemed like proper protocol 30 minutes ago now looks like institutional racism captured in high definition. Officer Thompson speaks quietly into his radio. Control, situation has devolved. Requesting immediate supervisor consultation. Maya addresses her audience, now approaching 25,000 viewers. This is what these black stories teach us. Sometimes the person you're discriminating against owns the whole company. Upstairs, in conference room A, the board of directors of First National Banking Group waits to meet their new owner. They have no idea what's coming. The 47th floor of First National's headquarters commands a view of the entire city. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame conference room A like a theater stage. And today's performance will determine careers, reputations, and the future of institutional culture. Chairman Peterson paces behind the mahogany table. His silver hair disheveled from nervous fingers. At 62, he's navigated countless corporate crises, but nothing has prepared him for this moment. VP of Marketing Sarah Chin types frantically on her laptop, monitoring social media metrics that climb like a rocket ship. Chairman Peterson, the hashtag First National Racism has 47,000 mentions in the last hour. The live stream is approaching 30,000 viewers. Head of HR David Kraft loosens his collar, sweat beading despite the air conditioning. Sir, we need to discuss legal exposure. Employment law requires specific procedures for termination. Peterson raises his hand for silence as the elevator chimes. The doors slide open. Amara Winston enters conference room A like she owns it, because she does. Her presence transforms the space instantly. Board members via video conference lean forward in their frames. The room's energy shifts from corporate anxiety to something approaching reverence. Richard follows 2 steps behind, looking like a man attending his own funeral. Gentlemen. Ladies. Amara's voice carries the authority of $847 million in fresh capital. I trust you've been briefed on this morning's customer service demonstration. Peterson extends his hand with careful respect. Dr. Winston, welcome to First National. Though I wish our first meeting occurred under different circumstances. Amara accepts the handshake, her grip firm and measured. Chairman Peterson. These circumstances are precisely why I acquired controlling interest in this institution. She moves to the head of the table, her table now, and opens her briefcase with surgical precision. Documents emerge, acquisition papers, financial statements, legal analysis, and a tablet displaying Maya's live stream. Let's discuss the current situation with data-driven precision, Amara begins. Connecting her tablet to the room's presentation system. My acquisition of 51.3% controlling interest in First National Banking Group concluded Friday, July 18th, at 4:47 p.m. Eastern. Settlement amount, $847 million. Assets under management, $2.4 billion. The numbers fill the massive screen. Board members study the figures with mixture of awe and terror. In the past fiscal quarter, First National has faced 23 formal discrimination complaints. Legal settlements totaled $3.7 million. Customer satisfaction rating among minority clients, 2. 1 out of 5.0. Sarah Chen's laptop shows real-time social media analytics. Dr. Winston, the live stream has reached 32,000 viewers. Projected reach based on current sharing patterns, 2. 3 million people within 24 hours. Amara nods approvingly. Excellent analytics, Ms. Chen. Now, let's calculate liability exposure. She advances to the next slide. Reputation damage from today's incident, assuming viral reach of 2 million views, could generate liability exposure exceeding $15 million. This includes potential federal discrimination lawsuits, customer attrition, and regulatory scrutiny. David Kraft shifts uncomfortably. Dr. Winston, while we understand your concerns, employment law requires due process for any personnel actions. Amara's gaze settles on Kraft with laser focus. Mr. Kraft, I have high-definition video evidence of employee discrimination, witnessed harassment, and 30,000 people documenting systematic misconduct. Your legal concerns are noted and overruled. The tablet displays Maya's live stream feed. Derek sits at his desk like a statue of defeat while comments scroll past in endless streams of outrage. Furthermore, Amara continues, this incident was not random occurrence. It represents systematic assessment of institutional culture across my newly acquired properties. Peterson's eyebrows rise. You mean this was intentional? Chairman Peterson. Successful business people don't make $847 million investments based on speculation. Every acquisition requires thorough due diligence. Today's demonstration provided critical data about operational culture. She advances to a slide showing bank locations across 3 states. I've conducted similar assessments at 17 First National branches over the past 6 months. Results show consistent patterns of discriminatory behavior, particularly toward minority customers. Richard finally speaks, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Winston, I want to apologize for what happened downstairs. Derek's actions don't represent our institutional values. Mr. Hayes. Amara interrupts with surgical precision. Derek's actions represent exactly what your institutional values produce. Culture flows from leadership. Discrimination doesn't happen in isolation, it requires systematic enablement. The video conference participants exchange uncomfortable glances. Board member Patricia Wills from Chicago clears her throat. Dr. Winston, what specific changes are you proposing? Amara's presentation advances to a comprehensive reform plan. My requirements are non-negotiable. First, Derek Collins receives immediate termination for cause. No severance package. No positive references. Second, Richard Hayes faces suspension without pay pending full investigation. Given his supervisory failure, voluntary resignation within 1 week is strongly encouraged. Third, all customer-facing staff complete mandatory bias training within 30 days. Training modules will be developed by external diversity consultants. Fourth, new customer service protocols implement dignity standards for every interaction. These protocols will be monitored by artificial intelligence systems detecting discriminatory patterns. Fifth, public apology issued within 24 hours across all corporate communication channels. David Kraft's protest dies in his throat as Amara continues. Non-compliance will result in immediate board restructuring. I possess voting control to replace every position in this room. Your choice, evolution or extinction. The silence stretches like a taut wire. Sarah Chen's fingers hover over her keyboard, afraid to type. The live stream continues to grow, Chen finally reports. Current viewers, 34,500. Hashtag First National Racism is trending in 12 major cities. Amara checks her Patek Philippe. The public relations window is closing rapidly. Every minute of delay amplifies reputational damage exponentially. Peterson looks around the table at faces that reflect his own growing understanding. This isn't negotiation, it's corporate restructuring delivered with velvet-wrapped steel. Dr. Winston, Peterson says carefully, your reforms are comprehensive. Implementation will require significant resources. Chairman Peterson, I've allocated $12 million for institutional culture transformation. This investment will be recovered through improved customer satisfaction, reduced legal liability, and enhanced market position. She displays a final slide. Financial projections show 23% increase in minority customer acquisition within 18 months. Market research indicates $47 million revenue opportunity from improved community relationships. The business case is irrefutable. Discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's financially catastrophic in the social media age. Richard slumps in his chair. Dr. Winston, about Derek. Mr. Hayes, Derek Collins will never work in financial services again. His discriminatory behavior was recorded, witnessed, and broadcast to thousands. That documentation will follow him to every future employer. Maya's live stream shows Derek gathering personal items into a cardboard box. Security officers escort him toward the exit as viewers celebrate in real-time comments. The termination is effective immediately, Amara confirms. Security is completing the process now. Board member James Morrison from Los Angeles speaks via video. Dr. Winston, these changes represent significant cultural shift. Timeline concerns aside, implementation will face resistance. Mr. Morrison, resistance to dignity and respect reveals character flaws that require immediate correction or removal. My timeline is non-negotiable. Sarah Chen looks up from her laptop. The hashtag has reached 89,000 mentions. Local news stations are preparing segments for evening broadcasts. Amara stands, her movement commanding attention from every person in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, this institution will become a model for inclusive banking practices. You can participate in that transformation or be replaced by people who will. The ultimatum lands with finality. Peterson looks around the table one final time, reading faces that mirror his own conclusion. Dr. Winston, the board accepts your reform proposal. Implementation begins immediately. Excellent decision, Chairman Peterson. Amara closes her briefcase with the same precision she's maintained throughout this corporate revolution. I expect progress reports weekly. The next assessment will be unannounced. She moves toward the door, then pauses. Oh, and gentlemen, give Maya Chen a call. That young woman's documentation skills could benefit our social media strategy. The elevator doors close behind her, leaving the board to contemplate their new reality. Downstairs. Derek's termination is complete. His career in banking is over. Justice wears expensive suits and speaks with quiet authority. Within 30 minutes of the boardroom meeting, Derek Collins' corporate email account deactivated. His key card access terminated. Security escorts him through the lobby he once controlled, past Maya's still-rolling live stream. The cardboard box containing his personal items, a coffee mug, a photo of his dog, and 15 years of assumed authority, represents the complete collapse of his professional world. Maya narrates to her audience, now exceeding 40,000 viewers, Derek just got walked out by security. This is what happens when racism meets consequences in real time. Comments explode across the screen, justice served. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. Is LinkedIn about to be empty? Derek's termination letter arrives via email before he reaches the parking garage. The language is precise, legal, and devastating. Terminated for cause due to discriminatory customer service practices documented via live video broadcast. Richard Hayes receives his suspension notice while still sitting in conference room A. His hands shake as he reads the investigation parameters. Every customer interaction from the past 6 months will be reviewed. His personnel file will be scrutinized for patterns of bias. The writing on the wall is clear: voluntary resignation or forced termination. First National's official Twitter account publishes its apology at 11:47 a.m. We sincerely apologize for today's unacceptable customer service incident at our downtown branch. The employee responsible has been terminated immediately. We are implementing comprehensive reforms to ensure this never happens again. Management. The post receives 15,000 retweets within an hour. Maya's original live stream has been viewed 127,000 times and shared across every major platform. Derek's personal social media presence crumbles like a house of cards. His LinkedIn profile becomes a graveyard of connection requests withdrawn and endorsements deleted. Potential employers in the financial sector will find the viral video before they find his resume. Meanwhile, systemic changes begin with surgical precision. By 2 p.m., First National's corporate headquarters deploys the Dignity Protocol across all branches. Every customer receives acknowledgement within 30 seconds of arrival. ID verification follows standardized procedures regardless of customer appearance. Discriminatory language triggers immediate management review. Customer service interactions are randomly audited for bias. The artificial intelligence monitoring system goes online by 4 p.m. Advanced algorithms analyze voice patterns, word choices, and interaction duration to detect discriminatory behavior in real time. Sarah Chin coordinates the implementation from her war room of monitors. Early data shows 97% compliance with new greeting protocols. Staff behavior has transformed overnight. The bias training modules, developed by Dr. Angela Rodriguez, a renowned diversity consultant, launched Tuesday morning. All 247 customer-facing employees must complete certification within 30 days or face termination. Janet, Derek's former colleague, volunteers for additional training sessions. The live stream footage forced her to confront her own complicity in discriminatory practices. Her transformation becomes genuine rather than performative. Office Martinez. The security guard who witnessed the discrimination receives commendation for his professional restraint. His report noting unusual composure suggesting possible authority becomes part of the case study. Maya's documentation earns her unexpected recognition. First National's social media team offers her a consulting contract to develop authentic community engagement strategies. Her live stream becomes a masterclass in real-time accountability. These life stories of transformation prove that institutions can change rapidly when consequences become inevitable. Customer reaction shifts dramatically within hours. Mrs. Patterson returns to the bank Tuesday morning, specifically requesting to apologize to any African American staff member. Her genuine remorse leads to volunteer work with local civil rights organizations. The viral video reaches 234,000 views by evening. National news outlets pick up the story as an example of social media accountability in action. CNN, MSNBC, And local affiliates feature segments analyzing the incident's implications for corporate culture. Stock market response proves equally telling. First National's share price drops 3% initially due to negative publicity, then rallies 7% as investors recognize the long-term value of Amara's leadership and reform initiatives. By week's end, 3 other major banks proactively implement similar dignity protocols, fearing their own viral discrimination incidents. Richard Hayes submits his resignation Friday afternoon. His letter cites personal reasons, but everyone understands the truth. His career in banking management is effectively over. The investigation reveals his pattern of enabling discriminatory behavior across multiple incidents. Customer complaints he dismissed, employee concerns he ignored, and training sessions he minimized all come to light. His severance package is minimal. Amara's legal team ensures no reward for discriminatory supervision. Within 2 weeks, First National's customer satisfaction ratings among minority clients jump from 2.1 to 4.2 out of 5.0. The Dignity Protocol becomes industry standard, copied by competitors nationwide. Maya's video becomes required viewing in business schools studying corporate crisis management and social media accountability. Dr. Amara Winston's strategic approach proves that the most effective response to systemic discrimination isn't anger or protest, it's acquisition, transformation, and sustainable reform backed by economic power. The bank she now owns becomes a model for inclusive financial services, proving that dignity and profitability are not mutually exclusive. Sometimes justice wears a business suit and speaks in quarterly reports. 3 months later, the transformation is complete and measurable. First National's quarterly earnings report tells the story in numbers that matter to Wall Street. Minority customer acquisition up 47%, overall customer satisfaction at 4.8 out of 5.0. And 0 discrimination complaints filed since the reforms. Stock price has climbed 23%, the highest performance in the banking sector. Dr. Amara Winston's investment strategy proves that social justice and financial returns aren't opposing forces, they're complementary engines of sustainable growth. Maya Chen, now 17 and a freshman at Northwestern studying business and social justice, speaks at corporate conferences about the power of documentation. Her TikTok account has grown to 890,000 followers, specializing in real-time accountability journalism. The original live stream, preserved as digital evidence, has been viewed 2.3 million times across all platforms. It serves as a case study in business schools from Harvard to Stanford, analyzing strategic activism in corporate acquisition. Derek Collins never recovered professionally. His viral discrimination incident appears in every background check, making employment in financial services impossible. He currently works retail, required to complete anger management and bias counseling as conditions of employment. His LinkedIn profile remains deactivated. His professional network evaporated like morning fog. Richard Hayes resigned in disgrace, citing family reasons. The discrimination incident follows him to every job interview. 6 months later, he remains unemployed. A cautionary tale about the career consequences of enabling systemic bias. These touching stories of institutional transformation prove that change happens when economic consequences become inevitable. The Winston Protocol, First National's dignity-focused customer service standards, has been adopted by 47 banks nationwide. The American Banking Association now requires similar training for all member institutions. Amara's investment firm has expanded its strategy, targeting discriminatory practices across industries. Hotels, restaurants, retail chains, and healthcare systems now face potential acquisition by investors committed to cultural transformation. Her approach demonstrates that victims of discrimination can become agents of systemic change through preparation, education, and strategic application of economic power. The deeper message resonates across corporate America. Institutional bias isn't just morally wrong, it's financially catastrophic in the social media age. First National now leads the industry in inclusive banking practices. Their Dignity First marketing campaign features real customers sharing life stories of respectful service. creating authentic community connections that drive revenue growth. Maya's documentation methodology has inspired a generation of accountability journalists. Young people nationwide now live-stream discriminatory incidents, creating real-time consequences for institutional bias. The ripple effects continue expanding. 3 documentaries are in production about the incident. Netflix acquired rights to Maya's story for a limited series about social media activism. Dr. Winston's quarterly report to shareholders concludes with a simple truth: the most profitable investment is human dignity. The highest returns come from treating every customer like they own the company, because someday, they might. Have you ever witnessed discrimination in your workplace or your community? Your voice is incredibly important. Your documentation can lead to real change. Your story has power. Share this video to raise awareness about organizational accountability. Comment below about the discrimination you have witnessed. Your experience matters. And remember to subscribe to Black Voices Uncut to see more real-life stories of justice achieved through intelligence, strategy, and unwavering dignity under pressure. Remember, the most powerful response to prejudice isn't anger, it's ownership. The best revenge isn't getting even, it's getting control. Sometimes the person you're discriminating against owns the whole company. And sometimes justice wears expensive suits and speaks in quarterly earnings reports.